Speaker, I rise to present before this August House the statement of estimate, receipts and expenditure for the year 2014-15 for railways. As I stand in this temple of democracy, I owe this opportunity to the people of this country who have elected us to represent them and to shape their destiny. I am grateful to Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji for having reposed his faith in me and entrusting this huge responsibility of leading Indian Railways. I promise to fulfill this responsibility and make every endeavour not only to lead Indian Railways but also aid in building a vibrant India under the dynamic leadership of Shri Narendra Modi ji. I believe in the saying, honesty is the first chapter in the book of wisdom. I do follow this. It gives me immense pleasure to present my maiden railway budget. Indian Railways, being the nation's prime mover, is the structure and soul of Indian economy. It echoes, rhymes and rhythm in the hearts of every citizen of this country, from Baramulla in the north to Kanyakumari in the south, and from Oka in the west to Lake Pani in the east. Madam Speaker, we all know that Indian Railways cut across all barriers of regions, classes and creed, and it is microcosm of India on the move. From a man on the streets of Bangalore to fish vendors in Kolkata, from the hustle and bustle at Nijamuddin station, everywhere you find a citizen of this country rushing to connect with the Indian Railways. Madam Speaker, though I am hardly a month old in the office, I am flooded with requests and suggestions for new trains, new railway lines and better services from the honourable members of the Parliament, from my colleagues in the government, from the states, from the stakeholders, from the organizations and from people of all walks of life. I know that everybody feels that there is a solution for challenges which Indian Railways face. I too thought so when I was an outsider to this system and before I was exposed to the intricacies and complexities of the vast organization. Now I am overwhelmed with the enormity of my responsibility in fulfilling these expectations as a Minister of Railways. Madam Speaker, it reminds me of Kautilya's words, Praja Sukhe Sukham Rajya, Prajanam cha hite hitam, Natma Priyam Hitam Rajya, Prajanam tu Priyam Hitam. This translates, in the happiness of the people lies the ruler's happiness. Their welfare is his welfare. What pleases him, the ruler shall not consider good, but whatever pleases his people, the ruler shall consider good. Indian Railways runs about 12,500 trains to carry over 23 million passengers per day, connecting more than 7,000 stations spread across the subcontinent. It is equivalent to moving the entire population of Australia. We run more than 7,400 freight trains carrying about 3 million tons of freight every day. Madam Speaker, having achieved this distinction of entering the select club of railways of China, Russia and USA in carrying more than 1 billion tons of freight, I now target to become the largest freight carrier in the world. Madam Speaker, as you know, apart from serving the passengers, the Indian Railways carries coal, it carries steel, it carries cement, it carries salt, it carries food grains and fodder, and it also carries milk. Thus, Indian Railways practically carries everything and anything and everything, and it never says no to a thing if it fits to the wagons. Most importantly, we are the backbone of supply chain of the defense establishment and play a crucial role in the security of the nation. Madam Speaker, while we carry 23 million passengers a day, there are still a large number of people who have not yet set a foot on the train. We carry over 1 billion tons of freight a year, connecting ports and mines to industrial clusters, but still there are vast tracts of hinterland waiting for rail connectivity. Though freight business has grown steadily over the years, the Indian Railways carry only 31% of the total freight carried in the country by all modes. These are the challenges we have to face. Madam Speaker, An organization of this magnitude, vested with various responsibilities, is expected to earn like a commercial enterprise but serve like a welfare organization. These two objectives are like two rails of a railway track which though travel together but never meet. So far, Indian Railways have managed to do a tightrope walking by balancing these twin conflicting objectives. Social service obligations rose from 9.4% of gross traffic receipts in 2000-2001 to 16.6% in 2010-11. In 2012-13, such obligations stood over rupees 20,000 crore. Total investment, which is the plan outlay under budgetary resources, in the same year was rupees 35,241 crore. Madam Speaker, Indian Railways would continue to fulfill its social obligations, but sustaining these objectives beyond a point is not possible without compromising on efficiency, safety of train operations. We have a total track length of 1.16 lakh kilometers, around 63,000 coaches, more than 2.4 lakh wagons, and 13 lakh employees. This calls for an expenditure on fuel, salary and pension, track and coach maintenance, and more importantly, on safety works. This takes up most of our earnings from gross traffic receipts. In the year 2013-14, gross traffic receipts were rupees 1,39,558 crore and total working expense were 1,30,321 crore, which works out an operating ratio almost all 94%. This, Madam Speaker, implies that we spend 94 paisa out of every rupee earned, leaving 6 paisa only as surplus. This surplus, apart from being meager, is continuously on decline due to non-revision of fare. The surplus, after paying obligatory dividend and lease charges, was rupees 11,754 crore in 2007-8 and is estimated to rupees 602 crore in the current financial year. Madam Speaker, this meager surplus so generated is required to finance the plan outlay for safety, capacity expansion, infrastructure, improving passenger services and amenities. Funds to the tune of about 5 lakh crore, that is around rupees 50,000 crore per year for next 10 years, are required for ongoing projects alone. This leaves a huge gap between what is available as surplus and what is needed. While prudent efforts should have been made to address this gap, the tariff policy adopted so far lacked a rational approach. Passenger fares were kept lower than costs, thus causing loss in the passenger train operations. This loss kept on increasing from 10 paisa per passenger per kilometer in 2000-2001 to 23 paisa in 2012-13. On the other hand, freight rates were revised periodically and kept high in order to compensate the losses sustained in the passenger sector, resulting in freight traffic getting diverted consistently. Also, the share of railways in freight traffic came down consistently in last 30 years. Madam Speaker, it is important to note the decline in the share of total freight tariff is revenue forgone. Madam Speaker, having spoken about how revenue was frittered away, now let me touch upon how the investments are misdirected. There has been focus on sanctioning projects rather than completing them. In the last 30 years, as many as 676 projects were sanctioned, worth rupees 1,57,883 crore. Of this, only 317 projects could be completed and 359 projects remain to be completed, which will now require as much as 1,82,000 crore. In the last 10 years, 99 new line projects worth rupees 60,000 crores were sanctioned, out of which only one project is complete till date. In fact, there are four projects that are as old as 30 years, but are still not complete for one reason or another. The more projects we add, the thinner we spread our resources and longer it takes to complete them. I am sure If this trend is allowed to continue, many more thousands of crores will get spent, yielding hardly any returns. Madam Speaker, having spoken about never-ending projects of Indian Railways, let me throw some light on the kind of priority accorded in choosing projects. It is investment in doubling and tripling to decongest overutilized network, which brings money to railways. On the other hand, construction of new lines most of the times do not even meet the operational cost. In the last 10 years, Indian Railways made an investment over rupees 41,000 crore in laying 3,700 kilometers of new lines. On the other hand, it spent only about rupees 18,400 crore for doubling of 5,050 kilometers, though it was priority over the new lines. I would like to read a comment on Indian Railways by someone which I chanced upon. I did not understand it till I learnt about the fact I talked about so far. It is unheard of a business that has a monopoly, that has nearly 100 crore customers base, that has 100% sale on advance payment, but still starved of funds. This, Madam Speaker, is the story of Indian Railways so far. Railways serving the social obligation would not have been an issue. However, in the name of social viability, the chosen projects were populist in nature, bringing hardly any revenue to the railways. On the whole, neither the projects brought returns to the railways nor social responsibility was met in full for many years. This mismanagement and apathy brought railways into a situation of severe funds crunch for many years, which is a result of the decade of golden dilemma, the dilemma of choosing between commercial viability and social viability. Madam Speaker, I am sure my esteemed predecessors were aware of this precarious situation, but they, however, fell prey of nasha of claps on the House when they announced these projects. Madam Speaker, I also can get claps from this august House by announcing many new projects, but that would be rendering injustice to the struggling organization. I would like to take steps throughout the year by setting the things in order. This state of affairs of Indian Railways needs immediate course correction. Among the many corrective steps that I have planned out, fare revision was one, which was a tough, but it was a necessary decision. Madam Speaker, as they say, yattadagre vishamisha pariname amrutopamam. The medicine appears as bitter in the beginning, but like a nectar at the end. This fare revision will bring Indian Railways an additional revenue of rupees 8,000 crore. However, need more than 9 lakh crores. However, need 9 more crore to complete the Diamond Quadrilateral network and about rupees 60,000 crore for introducing one bullet train alone. But, Madam Speaker, I can depend only on hiking fare and burden the public to mobilize these funds. I want to read it again. Please hear me for a while. If you don't have the patience to hear my budget, what you can do? Madam Speaker, can I depend only on hiking fare and burden the public to mobilize these funds? This is unrealistic. Thus, I need to explore the alternative sources of resource mobilization. The first source is leveraging railway PSU resources. Madam Speaker, railway PSUs have done very well and are financially sound. I propose to bring investable surplus funds of railway PSUs in the infrastructure projects of railways, which can generate attractive returns for PSUs. The second source is private investment in railway infrastructure, domestic as well as foreign. It is domestic as well as foreign direct investment. The growth of railway sector depends heavily on availability of funds for investment in railway infrastructure. Internal revenue resources and government funding are insufficient to meet the requirement. Hence, Ministry of Railways is seeking the cabinet approval to allow FDI in railway sector, except railway operations. Except railway operations. The third source is public-private partnership. There has been a lot of talk about public-private partnership for raising resources. Railways being a capital incentive sector have not been successful so far in raising substantial resource through PPP